First time streaming from Zoom into Facebook. I've had so many issues with this. Please let me know if you are here. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you're there, because I have no idea. Welcome along. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know that I've got a couple of people due to come on, so I am just waiting for you guys. Thank you very much. Winning, I appreciate this. I'm just going to give it 1 minute and then we're going to crack on, because I know that there is a certain couple of people that would like to join. Just making sure I'm live. Beautiful. Okay, I do believe I'm live, so let's go. I'm going to pop that there. Pop that there. Can you hear me? Please give me a comment. Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Pop that there. I don't know if you can hear me, so there we go. Okay, let's start. Let's stop yabbering on, Bianca. Beautiful. Okay, so welcome along to this training. Thank you so much for joining me. It is going to be a mammoth one, but also a very quick one. I'm not one for faffing around too long. I want to give you as much training as I possibly can in the quickest possible time. So today is about composing the perfect plate for optimum weight loss, or plant power, should I say. So what does that mean? Well, I talk a lot about making sure that your meals are magic, that they are balanced, and that they are done well. And that is for a series of reasons. And that includes ensuring that you get a healthy intake of micro and macronutrients. Now, going plant-based is all about increasing your nutrients, whether they're the smaller nutrients that you need a smaller amount of, or the bigger ones, which are your macronutrients. Having a balanced meal really ensures that you are eating a variety of foods, so you are consuming a variety of those macro and micronutrients. Also, why do we want to be balanced? Well, it helps include 9 of the 20 amino acids that are required by food. So for the rest of them, 11 of those amino acids, our body can produce. But for the 9 of them, we need to acquire them through food. And that is why we need to make sure that we are eating a well-balanced meal, well-balanced diet, because we want to include everything that we need for optimum living, cognition, energy, and of course, weight loss, and so much more. Also, making sure that your meals are balanced helps include enough protein, and including enough protein also helps reduce the release, the rate of release of your carbohydrates. What I mean by that is your carbohydrates are packed full of glucose in them. That's perfectly fine. It's perfectly natural. It comes packed with a lot of fiber as well, and other micro and macronutrients. But when you consume protein with carbohydrates, you're releasing that slower. So the protein just slows it down a little bit. And what does that do? It keeps you fuller for longer. Of course, someone is at the door. It keeps you fuller for longer. And it really helps reduce you getting hungry so fast. Then also, it creates more stability in your blood sugar levels. What do I mean by that? Is your blood sugar levels aren't going up and down all day. So having a balanced meal means that you can make sure that they are completely regulated. That means less mood swings. It means less hunger, less cravings, less binging. And of course, we all know that that is fantastic for weight loss. So what does this include? What does it include? So for an optimum balanced meal, you want to look at including dark green veg where and when possible. So that is kale, spinach, broccoli, green beans, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, pak choy, coriander, and loads of other herbs like parsley as well. Don't forget that herbs come from a plant. So they are still packed, loaded with those nutrients. It just means that you probably need a little bit more of those, and to pair them with some other dark green veg to boost up the overall amount of green veg on your plate. Now, I'll come to this in a minute, but it's not necessary to make sure every single meal is, but you want to be trying to get it on point as many times as you possibly can. We also want to look at colourful veggies. So not only are we having our dark green leafy veg on our plates as much as we possibly can, we're also having colourful vegetables in there too. Okay, and what does that mean? It means tomatoes, aubergines, peppers, corn, sweet corn, mushrooms, red cabbage, loads of other colourful, if you think of it as a vegetable or a fruit and it's got colour to it, it's going to be packed full of phytonutrients. They're exactly what you need, and they lie in the colour of fruits and vegetables, and that is really going to boost up your antioxidant levels, but also give you that energy and everything else that goes with it that I've already mentioned, which I'm not going to repeat myself for you. Grains. We're looking at rice, pastas, quinoa, buckwheat. You want to be looking at bulgur wheat, couscous, oats, teff, millet. There are loads of grains out there, and I'm pretty sure there's loads that you haven't cooked with yet. Like me, I actually still haven't cooked with millet or teff because one, they're quite difficult to get where I am. And two, I haven't got round to it yet. But I do ensure that all of my grains are varied. This wasn't part of my plan, but I'm going to show you that in this cupboard here, I have a load of different grains. What I do is I pack them in glass jars, label them, they're visual. It's easy to see. Fantastic way of getting all of your grains in as much as you can. So I've got groats, buckwheat, pearl barley, quinoa, bulgur wheat, rice, pastas, the lot. Grains, get as much as you can. Beans, we're also looking at black beans, butter beans, edamame, mung beans, lima beans. This also includes, as I mentioned, edamame, which is a soybean. So what comes from soybeans? Well, that's tofu, tempeh, soy milk. We can look at chickpeas and lentils. Now, when I say lentils, I don't just mean regular lentils that you can think of straight off the bat. I'm also talking red lentils, yellow lentils, brown lentils, black lentils, green lentils. There are so many different varieties of these beans, legumes, grains, vegetables, greens that you probably don't necessarily think of straight away. But unless you write them down and actually have a look and do a little bit of research as to what colors, what varieties, what different styles there are, you probably won't realize how many there actually are. There's estimated about 300,000 edible plants on this planet, and I guarantee you, you're probably sticking to the same 20 or 50 items. So getting a variety in is going to increase all of those nutrients, as I mentioned. Why am I talking so fast today? Right, last but not least, we want some fats on our plate. Yes, fats are good. No, fats are not bad, as long as you're consuming the right ones. We are looking at the healthy fats. I'm talking avocado, tahini, and other seed butters. You've got almond and peanut butter and other nut butters. So with those, you do want to make sure that they're 100%. Okay, a lot of peanut butters, a lot of almond butter, a lot of seed and nut butters. They also contain a lot of extra oil in there, which is completely unnecessary because they are high in fats anyway. So we don't want more fats. It contains a lot of sugar, preservatives, flavorings, salt. There's so much that goes into it. If you're UK based, you might appreciate this. A kilo of peanut butter is around about 6 to 8 pounds. And you'll probably only need to know this if you're in the UK. But this one here is 100% peanuts. There is no salt, preservatives, oil, anything like that. It is from Aldi and it is £4. It is £3.99. This is probably one of the cheapest ones that I've found. That is 100% peanuts. So when you're looking at nut butters and seed butters, you want to make sure it is 100%. Otherwise, you just load it in the sugar, load it in the salt, you're loading in the fats. They're going to destabilize that blood sugar level, which is what you're trying to stabilize. And they're going to increase the caloric intake throughout the day, which is not what we want for weight loss, of course. Then we can also look at seeds. So we've got chia, flax, With those two, I firmly recommend that you get them milled or you do it in a little blender yourself. All this literally means is that they've got the seeds and you blend it up. So they're more of a powder. This makes it much more digestible, makes it easier for you to consume, to strip the nutrients and actually utilize them. Otherwise, they just come back out the same way they come in. Then you can look at hemp hearts, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. So all of the seeds, looking at nuts, we've got cashews, almonds, Brazil nuts, walnuts, etc. And even foods like cocoa powder, and I'm talking proper cacao powder. There's a difference. The first one I said is cocoa powder. That is generally mixed in with dairy and sugar. Hi, Sheila. Nice of you to join us. Thank you so much for joining. Sheila's one of my, I just want to take a moment. Sheila's one of my amazing clients who I talked about last week. And she has made some fantastic Buddha bowls. And it was actually her that said to me, I really am getting stuck with Buddha bowls, that made me realize that I needed to do a live on how to actually compose a proper plate. So thank you for this. Thank you for this content, Sheila. I appreciate it. So going back to cocoa and cacao, cacao is the rawest form of cocoa, of the chocolate plant, as we all know it. So you want to look at cacao, not cocoa powder, which generally has a lot of sugar and dairy and stuff in it as well. So cacao, coconut is also quite high in fats, and olives, of course. Now, I will go on to why I'm not including olive oil in just a moment, but I want to talk about sweet foods as well. So not every meal has to abide by the magic plate. And what do I mean by the magic plate? Because I still haven't actually described it yet. So talking about the magic plate, try and visualize it in a way that is going to be beneficial for you. Sorry, I'm just going to see if I'm center. Oh, there we go. I'm actually kind of center now. So I want to talk about the plate. So half of this plate here, this half, you're looking at vegetables. A quarter of it, you want it to be dark greens. And then a quarter of it, you want to look at the colorful veggies. Okay. I've already been through those. So you've got the idea with that. Then you've got a quarter of that for your grains. Again, variety, grains, greens, colored vegetables. Quarter of that plate, you're looking at your beans, legumes. And then just 1 to 2 tablespoons of fats, healthy fats. Again, not bakery, pastries, not chocolate, not terrible processed foods, healthy fats. So with every meal, it doesn't have to be perfectly magic. It doesn't have to be completely abiding by it. The idea of the magic plate is to give you more of a skeleton, more of a guidelines. Follow that as many times as you can, and you will see a huge significant difference in your weight, in your energy, in your mood, in your blood sugar levels. Okay, that is because of all of the things that I have already mentioned. So with the magic meal plate, I do also want to quickly add on there. Of course, I've got this beautiful picture here. Yeah, but we all know that that's not really doable when you're plating up. Okay, if you're making a curry, it's all mixed in. If you're making a smoothie, it's all blended in. So you can't really put it on your plate. So how do you get around that? Well, the way I get around it is literally looking at my plate and visualizing and going, right, okay, I've had about a quarter of the plate starch. I've had a quarter of the plate of greens. So although it doesn't have to look like that on the plate, as long as you're mentally aware that those proportions are right, then that's fantastic. I made a quick example here. Hopefully you can see this because I'm probably going to drop it everywhere. So here we go. Sorry, I just have to wait for the video to catch up because I can't see if you can see anything. Right, okay, so I'm dropping rice everywhere, but this gives me a good idea. I didn't want to open the beans, by the way. I would only have half a can. I wouldn't want to open the beans because I'm not going to use them just yet. It's going to be a while until I use them. So I wasn't going to open them for you. But if you imagine a small ramekin in there of beans, that's what that would look like. So I've got my beans and I've got my rice. Theoretically, once they're unpacked and once they're cooked, it's going to be about a quarter and about a quarter. Then I've got my greens. Then I've got my colored veggies. So this one would create a nice little burrito bowl, for example. And that just hopefully gives you a little bit more of an idea. Before you actually start cooking, you can separate it like that. You could possibly put it on a board and just have a look at the proportions and see how well they work. So I am smashing through this. Excuse me. So going back to sweet foods, what about sweet foods? Well, not every meal has to abide by the magic meal plate, as I mentioned. The closer you stick to it for most meals, the better. And the easier it is going to be for you to understand exactly what it is that you and your body needs. So when we're talking about fruit smoothies or oats or desserts, you can still try and abide by it, but sometimes greens don't necessarily work. So you might want to add in colourful veggies. Just be mindful though, if you've had 2 meals that don't contain those greens, your next meal best be a plate of greens. Now, I'm not saying just have an entire plate of broccoli, although I used to do that when I thought that I was being healthy. I used to have a whole bowl full of broccoli and think that I was being healthy. Was that in any way balanced? No. Did it help my energy? No. Was I hungry 10 minutes later by the time I got to work? Absolutely. It was the worst diet I put myself on. Anyway, I digress. So with sweet meals, you can look at berries. They're going to be your best bang for your buck in terms of nutrition, in terms of antioxidants. They're going to be the best because they have lower sugar content as well, but they have the highest percentage of antioxidants in them. So berries are your best bang for your buck. I go for blueberries because that and acai, they are practically the best out there, the healthiest, most nutritionally compact berries. So I stick with those, but you can have a mixed berry, cranberries, strawberries, even cherries definitely still count. Blueberries, did I mention raspberries? I think I already did. So a lot of supermarkets will have like a mixed berry, mixed summer berry, or mixed winter berry mix. Try and get the ones with the most amount of blueberries in them. Again, best bang for your buck. You really want to be making every single bite that you have as nutritiously dense as you possibly can. For sweet things, I can still use soya, tofu, and beans for a base. So if I'm making a protein shake and I don't want to use protein powder because I'm trying to stick to whole foods, then that's totally fine. Probably want to look at blending up some tofu, blending up some butter beans, because they're going to provide a decent amount of protein, and they're going to add that to your smoothie, add a little bit more bulk as well. You can use oats for your grains and seeds, fats, and I will demonstrate that I'll do that now. So I've literally got out everything that I was going to do. Every day I have oats. I have soaked oats. I used to cook it straight away on the spot. However, I noticed that I was getting a bit of bloating. What happens when starches are cooked and cooled is their cellular structure changes. So it does change the digestibility of them. And for me, it actually improves the digestibility. So I didn't get bloating, and sometimes I could get quite a lot of pain from oats. And I thought at first, oh, maybe I'm gluten sensitive. But I then changed it and started doing my oats overnight and noticed a huge difference. Even once I heat them up in the morning, I can still have them warm, but they've been soaking overnight. So it's actually changed the structure of the cells within the starch, and it helps me digest. Anyway, as I mentioned, I do personally have protein powder. I'm just going to put this out there, right? I'm an advocate for whole foods, plant-based diet, 100%. However, when you start trying to manipulate your body, you do have to take a little bit here and a little bit there. What I mean by that is, because I am lifting super heavy weights, I like to shortcut, because I have a very, very busy life, with just a little scoop of protein powder. And this is probably the only thing that I have that's not whole foods plant-based, especially on the regular. My cupboards are completely clean. So with this, I do personally do that. And when I say manipulating my body, I literally mean bodybuilding. So I lift as heavy weights as I possibly can, and the protein just helps with muscle recovery. There's nothing wrong with it, but if you are wanting to stick to whole foods, stay away from this and add more of the beans or the tofu. So that's why that's in there. You don't have to have it, that's totally fine. But let's try and make a balanced meal. So I'm going to skip and pretend that this isn't in here for a balanced meal. So if I was to have a balanced breakfast, I would have oats. So in my 7-day and 28-day meal plan, the breakfast smoothie, or the breakfast oats, sorry, is 55 grams. That's how much I use, because I try and keep my calories down, keeping my protein high, because that's my personal nutrition goals. Doesn't necessarily mean it's yours. So there's my oats. I'm just going to mix those up really quickly, because I'm going to have this for breakfast, and it's not just for display. It's not Blue Peter. There we go. So there's my oats. Berries, yes, it's a freaking lot. Okay, this is about 90 grams of berries. I weighed both of these out beforehand, don't worry. I try and weigh my food all the time, because if you go by eye, it's never consistent, and you want consistency if you want steady weight loss. So I'd highly recommend measuring or weighing your stuff as much as you can. If it becomes too obsessive and quite traumatic, stop, totally fine. So this is about 80-90 grams of berries. That goes in there. So I've got my grains, I've got my my fruits, which is my blueberries. This is just plain blueberries in there. I'm not going to add spinach or kale because I don't have any that's already pre-cooked or blended up, so it wouldn't really work with a smoothie. But this is what I mean. You don't have to stick to it every single time. And I thought, do you know what? I need to make my oats, so I might as well make them on camera. Then I have my soy milk. So this is just regular soy milk. Try and go with no sugar when there is some available. Just spilt bloody soy milk everywhere. I'm going to put that in. Now I said I measure everything, but not this, because I know exactly the line to pour to. So there's my oats. Okay, I'm going to mix that up so it gets nice and mixed. Literally just a couple of stirs. Grains, vegetables. Now let's add fats. Okay. So tofu is soy is from a soybean. So that in this meal is my bean. If you have a soy allergy, it can be a little bit difficult to get around. So if you have a soy allergy, I would personally recommend adding in the beans, because that's going to boost the protein of the shake. It's going to increase the density, so it's going to be a little bit thicker, and it's going to have a neutral flavor. Beautiful. And then I'm going to top this off with chia, ideally hemp and flax. I've run out of hemp seeds. See, even I can't even stick to a completely magic meal plate, because shit happens. There we go. So I'm just going to put my seeds on there. That is 1 tablespoon of half of chia and half of flax. Again, I just put them all together. And that's it. That's my relatively well-balanced smoothie. Oats, Jesus Christ. Then a little dash of peanut butter. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you're looking for weight loss, this is going to be very important to weigh. I have done this a bajillion times, so I can do it by eye now. I want to try and get about 20 grams in there, 25 grams. The reason why it's very important to weigh this is because it's quite calorie dense. So when you're looking at weight loss, peanut butter and nut butters are high in fats, and fats are what give you the calories, yeah? Fats are huge at 9 calories per gram, whereas protein and carbohydrates are 4. So it's just over double. So you're getting double the calories for half the amount of, well, probably a quarter of the amount of volume. So it's not going to fill you up as much, but the fats do keep you satiated. They do help with a balanced complex meal like we've got there. They do help it last. I am harping on so much more than I anticipated on doing. Right, so what does a peanut butter on my finger now. So what does a magic meal plate look like in other instances? 1 second. I'm going to wash this off. I was going to lick my finger, but I thought that was probably very unnecessary on camera. Sorry. Okay, so what does a magic meal look like in theory? So a pasta dish, you can add, okay, let's look at this. So a pasta dish, pasta is going to be your grain. Ideally, you could get a buckwheat pasta, chickpea pasta, lentil pasta, but regular one, semolina, that's a grain. I'll stick with that for now. If you're going to have a pasta dish, that's totally fine. Go whole grain, slightly better because it's got a slightly slower release of glucose in that. So then we look at your green veg. So in my pasta dish, I will have kale and peas. Then my colourful veg is going to be tomatoes, onions, mushrooms, and peppers. The grain is the pasta. The bean, I'm going to have some tofu with it. So I'll just kind of slice up some tofu, and then the fats is going to come from the tofu, but it's also going to come from some olives, which I'm going to put in there. Curry, what would a curry look like? So I'm going to have broccoli as my green vegetable. I'm going to have aubergine, tomatoes and carrots as my colourful vegetables. My grain is going to be rice. My bean or legume will be red lentils, and then fats are going to be maybe a tablespoon of peanut butter or almond butter to give it a nice creaminess. If I'm looking at a burrito, my spinach and romaine lettuce is going to be my greens. Then I'm going to add some peppers, mushrooms, red onions, red cabbage and carrot slaw, which is my favorite to add in there. And then for a grain, I'm going to do a bit of quinoa, but also the burrito is going to be whole grain. So that does count towards it too. I'm going to add in some black beans and mashed avocados. Do you see how we're creating a balanced meal? If you were to have a burrito, let's just say with some lettuce, peppers, and rice, you're not going to have your fats in there, which isn't going to keep you it's not going to make you feel as satiated, because the mouth likes the feel of some fats in meals. Okay. Also, you're missing out on a lot of protein. So the black beans and the proteins, the proteins from the black beans will keep you satiated for longer. Then morning oats, already done that. Morning smoothie, so I'm going to do some spinach. I'm going to have banana and berries all blended up. I'm going to top it with some puffed quinoa, which is really cool to add to your morning smoothie. In it, I'm going to have blended butter beans and some chia seeds as well. And then if I'm going to have a fruit salad, I'm going to make it as balanced as I possibly can. So with my fruit salad, I'm not going to have any greens. Totally fine, but I'm going to have some banana, peach, strawberries, and raspberries. I'm going to have some toasted barley on top. So I'm going to use a soy-based yogurt to go with it, and I'm going to toast up some cinnamon chickpeas. That will add a nice little crunch to my fruit salad, and then sprinkle it with some hemp hearts. So again, you just break it down and think about those individual things, and that creates a balanced meal. So I'm going to move on now to my 5 key points to a successful plant-based weight loss. Slowly start slowly, phase in to phase out. Okay. Do it slowly, do it at your own time. Start with 1 magic meal plate a day. That could be your dinner. It's easier to plan dinners ahead or lunches than doing breakfast, because often breakfasts aren't necessarily always completely compliant to the magic meal plate. That's totally fine, but start slowly. So just start with 1 or 2 meals. I want to step closer, but I know I've got soy milk everywhere. So yeah, phase in to phase out, work it slowly, work it at your own pace. Combine your foods to create a better balanced snack or meal. Not always excellent, not always on point. Give yourself that. Allow yourself that wiggle room. It's okay. No one's going to come and hunt you down for not having 3 magic meal plates a day and magic meal snacks. Okay, so just try to aim for better, not perfect. And just ask yourself, how can I create a bit more balance with this meal or a bit more balance with this snack? So if it's a carb heavy snack, add a protein. If it's a fat heavy snack, if it's heavy on the fats as a snack, add some veggies. Again, just balance it out as much as you can, adding food, not taking away. Notice that we're adding foods, we're not taking away. We're adding to meals, we're adding to snacks. We're creating more of a balance to create more of a balance in your body, in your nutrients. Allow flexibility, yeah? Allow your foods, the rules, the guidelines to move and adjust to, so you can understand exactly how your body works. You can experiment. One of my last clients, she was so fearful to put fats in her diet. So she was having her morning oats and she didn't have any almond butter. She said that she was snacking and was hungry by 11 a.m. Told her to put her seeds and some peanut butter in there. She continued to lose weight and she stopped snacking. And it was incredible. And she was just like, my mind's blown. Honestly, Bianca, I didn't know that I could eat fats and still lose weight. So it just really goes to show that a balanced meal is an optimum meal. Eat until satisfied, not stuffed. I cannot stress this enough. If you continue eating past that point of feeling bloated, of feeling so full, you're never going to lose weight. It just works, okay? Take your time when you're eating. So aim for about 20 minutes and move more. They're pretty much my 5 top tips. So start slowly, phase in to phase out, combine your foods to create better meals, eat until satisfied, not stuffed, take your time and move more. What I mean by move more, increase your NEAT, which is the exercise that you are doing that is not specifically exercise, if that makes sense. So that is walking to work or cycling to work instead of driving to work. Yeah, it's not intentionally exercise. It's walking on the spot. If you're cooking, you're waiting for something, you're going to one end of the kitchen, going to the other, you're increasing your steps, just increasing your general movement as much as you possibly can. I've just seen what I just did there on camera because it's so slow and I just look like a twat. So if this is all very confusing and you're like, no, Bianca, I still don't fucking get it, that's totally fine. The 28-day meal plan is getting a massive overhaul. So grab it now. Why now? Because I'm giving it a huge shake-up. Now, you've probably seen and had my 7-day meal plan. I have a 28-day meal plan for sale, okay? And everyone who has ever purchased the 28-day meal plan will get access to any revamps that ever happen. So because I'm overhauling it now, I'm in the process of doing it now. If you purchase it now, you'll get the current version and the new version, which will have a completely different load of recipes. So not only if you get it now, you're getting 28-day meal plan, but then you'll get another 28-day meal plan when it comes out. But if you purchase it after it's come out, you won't get the previous version, okay? So I shouldn't be telling you this, but I am. So yeah, you'll end up getting more recipes on the current version and all of the recipes on the 2.0 version too. But the 28-day meal plan is more than just a meal plan, guys. It's a one-stop shop for plant-based weight loss. Not only do you have access to training videos throughout the entire guide, but there is also mindset work to get you on your way and start seeing success, to get you out of your own way. There's a kitchen overhaul section to help you prep your environment for positive changes. Yeah, it's all the equipment, it's the cupboard essentials, everything you need to know. And the biggest part of it is the plant-based meal generator. What we have done today, what I have showed you today, what I have described to you today, there is that, but in much more depth. And this helps you generate your own new fresh meals every time and time again. It will also help you use up the fridge leftovers that you have, so you don't always get stuck with the sad lettuce looking at you from the back, from the bottom corner of the bottom drawer. If you're wanting to take advantage of it now before the 2.0 version gets released and you want the 2.0 version, drop a fire in the comments below and I'll send you a cheeky little discount code. that's everything. That was about a 35-minute live. I'm trying to keep them short, but there was a lot to cover. Thank you for making my breakfast with me. I very much appreciate it. I hope this helped. If you have been directed to this training, guys, it is for a reason. So if anything's confusing, if I've sent you here and I don't make sense, because I don't make sense half the time, shoot me a message. Let me know. Drop me a message. Drop me a DM and I'll get back to you and I'll help you in the best possible way I can. If you want 2 versions of the 28-day meal plan, drop a fire emoji below and I will give you a cheeky little discount code. That's it from me, guys. Thank you for all the love, Sheila. I much appreciate that. I know that's you. I think that's you. Take care, guys, and I'll see you soon. I don't know how to turn this off. Oh, yeah, there we go. Bye.